Now we are looking at the medial view of the right hind limb of the dog, and we are looking at the femoral triangle. Now we shall look at the major nerves innervating the hind limb. The major nerves which innervate the hind limb are derived from the lumbosacral plexus. The lumbosacral plexus, like your brachial plexus, also formed by the ventral branches of the lumbar spinal nerves and the sacral spinal nerves. The lumbar spinal nerves, or the ventral branches of the lumbar spinal nerves, those are involved. Those are last five lumbar nerves and their ventral branches, and all of the three sacral nerves, specifically their ventral branches. They all come together and split to supply the hind limb. When they all come together and then form the network, that is called lumbosacral plexus, which is similar to the brachial plexus in the forelimb, and those nerves are going to take care of the nerve supply to the hind limb. But the major nerve supply to the most of the hind limb would be derived from three major nerves. The femoral nerve, which takes care of the major extensors of the stifle, that is the quadriceps femoris muscles. Obturator nerve, which is going to take care of almost all the adductors of the hind limb, and then the sciatic nerve, which is present on the lateral aspect, which will take care of the extensors and flexors of the digit and the tarsus. At the same time, these nerves would also be involved in nerve supply to the cutaneous regions of the hind limb that we'll look at later time. We do have other branches from the lumbosacral plexus, which are going to take care of the caudal aspect of the cutaneous innervation, as well as medial aspect, caudal aspect of the cutaneous innervation. The lateral and more caudal aspect of the cutaneous innervation would be taken care of by branches from the common fibular or common peroneal and the tibial nerve by means of lateral and caudal cutaneous sural nerves. Those would be coming more superficially as it descends further down. Okay, so let's look at the major nerves. We'll start from the femoral and then we'll come to the sciatic and its branches. So again, we are back in the medial view here on the medial aspect of the thigh. The structure we see again, the femoral triangle with femoral artery, vein, and the big stump that we seen right here along with those blood vessels, that is the femoral nerve. The femoral nerve then continues further after supplying all the quadriceps. It continues further as medial saphenous nerve, and the saphenous nerve as a saphenous nerve, not medial. It's saphenous nerve alone. So saphenous nerve would be on the medial aspect of the thigh as well as medial aspect of the crus. The other nerve that we see here coming through the obturator foramen, that is the obturator nerve. This branch, as well as a smaller branch which can be seen coming backward, both of these are branches of the obturator nerve. As they come down, they split into several branches to supply the adductor muscles of the hind limb. So that is another nerve which is also derived from the lumbosacral plexus, involved in nerve supply to the hind limb. The femoral nerve is also derived from the lumbosacral plexus, which is responsible for the quadriceps majorly, obturator, the adductor muscles majorly. Now the third nerve, which takes care of remaining part of the innervation of the hind limb, is the ischiatic nerve or sciatic nerve. We already saw that in the lateral part of the pelvis. We followed that along with the caudal gluteal artery and vein. We saw a big nerve, which is your ischiatic nerve or sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve first of all gives off the cranial gluteal nerve, then it gives off caudal gluteal nerve, and then further continues downward while giving off branches to the hamstring muscles like your biceps femoris, semitendinosus. It will then continue further as sciatic nerve or until it splits into two major divisions, the one which remains on the lateral aspect between the biceps femoris and the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, that is the common peroneal nerve or the common fibular nerve. The common peroneal has two major branches. The superficial branch, which looks like it's broken here, which will take care of the cutaneous innervation on the dorsal or on the dorsolateral aspect, while we have the deep branch of the common fibular or common peroneal, which will take care of all the extensors of the digit and flexors of the tarsus. So that is your common peroneal nerve or common fibular nerve, which further divides into superficial peroneal and deep peroneal, or superficial fibular or deep fibular. After this, the another division of the ischiatic nerve, that is your tibial nerve, which is responsible for the flexors of the digit and extensors of the tarsus, including your gastrocnemius muscle, superficial digital flexor, deep digital flexor, which are located on the cordomedial aspect of the crus of the hind limb. Okay, so that is your tibial nerve, which would be responsible for rest of them. It also gives off caudal cutaneous sural, which is responsible for caudolateral aspect or the crus of the hind limb in terms of its cutaneous innervation. This another structure that we see right here, close to the lateral saphenous vein, that is the popliteal lymph node. This is the major lymph node which helps draining the limb from the hind limb, which can also be palpated in terms of like when it gets enlarged in the live animal. So the tibial nerve, which then further continues between the two heads of the gastrocnemius, it runs along with the superficial digital flexor. I'm going to expose that one a little bit more so we can follow it more distally. And here we can see the branches coming off the tibial nerve, supplying the various muscles in the flexor group, or we can say those are the flexors of the digit and extensors of the tarsus. The tibial nerve then can further be continued or further be traced between the common calcaneal tendon and the deep digital flexor muscles. It is located in the fascia, which is present between these structures. At this point, I can palpate the nerve. The nerve is thick enough to be palpated and can also be exposed after doing some blunt dissection, and we can see the tibial nerve, which is exposed right here between the cranial and caudal branches of the lateral saphenous vein. Here it will now slightly move more on the medial aspect, run through the flexor canal of the tarsus, and then it will be responsible for nerve supply to the plantar aspect of the pes. The common fibular, by means of its deep branch or deep fibular nerve, is responsible for the dorsal aspect of the pes as well. So the tibial nerve, which can be seen here as well as we can trace it from proximal to the distal end again. So we have the ischiatic nerve, continued further on the caudal aspect of the greater tubercle of the humerus, greater trochanter of the femur, then continues further between the biceps femoris and the other hamstring muscles. After continuing further down, it gives off common peroneal or common fibular and the tibial nerve. Those are the two major branches. The common fibular will split into deep fibular and superficial fibular, while the tibial nerve is responsible, or it will go between the two heads of the gastrocnemius along with the superficial digital flexor. It will continue further innervating the flexors of the digit and extensors of the tarsus, as well as it takes care of the deep innervation and superficial innervation on the plantar surface of the pes.